$4,712. And for the other departments is $8,221,983. So that's not county general, that's total on the levies, correct? That's total on the levies.
That's the levy.
Levies, right. 28 million is total on the adopted tax levy and rates. Anybody have any questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Bill makes a motion.
I'll second.
Deanna seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? An aye or aye, or a hand vote needed, Ken?
We can do the one.
Yeah.
Okay, good now. Okay, now, solid waste management. I got one here, we gotta approve it. Adopted budget's $559,644. That make it all right, Kenny?
Yep. It's pretty much basically identical to last year.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Kenny on that? 'Cause it's okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve solid waste budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ashley makes a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Melanie seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I got food and beverage tax ordinance. Right, go right ahead.
All right,
This first reading, correct?
first reading, correct.
Everybody get an email, read it?
Should have a draft in front of you for the first reading ordinance, Decatur County adopting county food and beverage tax, again, part of the conversation on solving the issue with the Alvin Memorial Pool. The committee has been working a year on this possibly, and our idea was to come up with not only some options for the pool, but also a means of funding it. And thought that this is a good avenue to go through, being that the food and beverage tax is specifically set for projects like this. I do want to call two things to your attention in the draft ordinance.
I got a draft. We don't have a copy.
Copy of it?
No.
I sent it out last Friday.
I read it online.
Yeah, I read it
I was gonna say I don't.
online.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you don't have a hard copy?
Yeah.
Let's see, we'll get those fairly quick to you then. Thank you so much. Problem is, I print on 2 pages on 1 page. Is that gonna be okay for you guys?
That's fine.
Okay,
right here.
apologies. So Deanna, if you haven't, and we can continue to make use of everybody's time. Do you have a book in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay, section 1. I wanted to make you guys aware of a couple things, because this has been part of conversations in the community and such. Section 1 states, and this is on memory, that the amount is 1%, and 1% is the maximum amount that can be raised by the food and beverage tax by Indiana statute. There's been some concern that once it's enacted, that it will increase, and that by this ordinance and by Indiana code cannot happen. So it's a maximum of 1%. The other section.
Sorry,
No, we're fine.
doing a paper shuffle.
That's fine. I'll let
Around
you-
this world.
No problem. And then I think it's section 5 that deals with what it can only go to. It cannot be used for anything other than the stated purposes, and in this case, it is the the renovation and building of the Allen Memorial Pool, as well as the fairgrounds. That was something that was inserted there too. Again, by Indiana code and by what they gave us an allowance to cover, it can only be used on those two things. So it's not going to be a condition of where, when we pass a tax, that money goes or can be moved to something else or pay for it. And then I want to say it's 7, and again, we have your, I have stars by it, so it'll be, there is an expiration date. It's been said that once it's in place, it'll be continued. By this ordinance and by Indiana code that allowed us to adopt this ordinance, it has an expiration date of, I want to say, 2045.
July 1st,
2045. So there is a termination date, and as code stands now, it cannot be extended. Of course, you know, that's in our ordinance. And
I've got a question on that.
Sure.
I don't think you can determine in the original ordinance how that money or how much is spent, where it has to be spent in a certain category. But it comes back to the governing authority, which would be the council, as to where that money is spent. And how much. I don't think you can put that in the original ordinance.
Well, because the food and beverage tax is designated for only certain things.
I agree.
By
For certain
Indiana.
departments, that you can't specifically say we're going to use this much on the pool,
Yeah,
this much on the fairgrounds.
That,
That has to be decided by the council or somebody they appoint down the road.
I mean, don't get me wrong, yes, the amounts, you guys determine the amounts that are spent at each one, but it can only be spent on the fairgrounds and pool.
And some other things. We need to include other things in that.
It can't be by a state law.
By state.
No, I don't think you're right there.
We had Barnes and Thornburg legal authority write it up.
Yeah,
Well, I've been doing a little research on myself, and I think you have to leave that open. It has to be a.
There are other, on this, I believe it's, Henry County. They've been using it for a lot of different things besides.
It can be
that.
used for other things.
But they established theirs back in the 1980s when these codes were not enforced. And you can read the Indiana ordinance that actually allowed us to adopt it. It limits us to pool or fairgrounds.
I don't think so.
Brian, so the termination time can be done at our discretion all the way up until that day, right? So if we want to
If you want to terminate it,
before
as
that-
far as I know, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'd like to have,
And I'll ask about that. That's something
I would assume you'd be able to,
Yeah.
but that way if we decide, we're done with that, we can.
So the termination time can be before
Well, that's what I
20
just said, I
years.
was checking to see if if we were able to do that before the,
I think we can terminate about any tax.
well, I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, it just cannot go over that.
Okay,
But I'll confirm that and get with you. guys.
okay, yeah, that's fine.
I think the language of the code says 20 years or when the bond expires. So assuming you take out a bond to pay for the gap in the cost of the pool, say you take out a 7-year bond, I got tax with you.
I talked to Barnes and Thornburg about that because, some people were asking, if you take a 30-year bond, that will extend past 20. And
Yeah.
Barnes and Thornburg said.
No, because I think it could be
20.
the shorter of the
The
two.
shorter of the two?
Right.
I'll confirm that, but that seems like it would be valid.
Would make sense, okay.
I got a question under section 5. There's things are listed. 1 is rehabilitation of public pool facility. 2 is improvements to county fairgrounds. There can also be other things in there. Is that correct?
Not for us.
There could have been if the state legislature had included those when they approved it at the state level, but that's not what was included in the language of the.
Why wasn't this brought to the council to be discussed before this got this far? Why was this all done so secretly?
No, it wasn't done secretly. We actually, I think the council even signed the letter going forward. And the food and beverage tax, again, under its own code, can only be used for certain things like event centers and
It
certain.
can be used for other things too.
For quality of life projects.
Quality of life
Which
projects.
would be not just this.
He's right, it could have been, but it was not.
We added in the fairgrounds because the fairgrounds was another need at the time.
Well, I question that.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
Again, this is the first reading. Our public hearing is at November 6th at the annex at 6 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes, rules of engagement will be, there'll be a sign-up sheet, and you'll have 3 minutes to voice your opinion, and there will be questions. Anybody has any questions after the meeting? That's the best way I know to put it.
That's the way.
Enter
Is that okay?
enter through the back door.
In through the back door, and I'll try to have signs up so people know where to go. I'll talk to Brad about, or if I got a way to print up some and put them on the stand out there, point.
That'll be fine. And again, from the committee side, nobody's taking this lightly. This is an issue that the county faces. We have an asset out there that has been there for 60 years. We've all been able to take advantage of it growing up. We hope that the next generation will be able to take advantage of it as well. But we want to do it the right way and do it the proper way, and that's what the committee's been working on, to not only develop plans or a process for doing that. This is part of it. If there is another means of funding that or another means of solving the solution, we're all for it. And again, this does not mean that, I want to say this publicly because this is another thing that was brought up. This does not mean that we are not going to approach businesses, other benefactors, anything like that, or raising private funds, sponsorships out there, advertising out there to continue not only to help fund the pool, but help run the pool as well. I mean, that's all on the table. And Teresa, we talked about that extensively as well. So this is, all options are on the table for us, as well as, you know, if other people have other solutions. We're open to it. So.
Any other questions? Okay,
So what's our steps here? We go November 6th for the hearing,
Yeah.
and then there's a final,
November 21st.
our next meeting.
November 21st will be the vote. Yes.
And again, if anybody has any questions or wants answers or anything along those lines, we were delayed in the RFP process, not as request for proposals for this, because it had to be approved through the commissioners. That was done yesterday, so that'll go out this week. By that time, we hope to have some numbers, but again, essentially what the committee is asking the council for is a budget that we can stay within, and this is a means of funding that budget.
Will this be a roll call vote, Danny?
No, sir, be a hand vote. Come November.
I request a roll call vote, so
Okay, no
taxpayers
problem.
know
We
who
can have a
votes,
roll call
raise
vote.
their taxes, who voted not to.
That's fine. I kind of agree with Ernie. I don't think it was done
Yeah,
openly.
and again,
I don't believe it was done openly, Brian.
part of the reason for the speed on it was because if we weren't able to get on this session, we would have to wait another 2 years.
Well, I understand it. Well, I think we should have been talking about it January and February before we had to sign a piece of paper in March. I really think it should have
Yeah,
been
well,
open,
There
more
was-
public.
Yeah, well, it was actually, we were lucky to get in it all, honestly. That was, you know, some efforts from local folks here to be able to even get on it. If we weren't able to get it on March and get it done by March, then, you know, we would have 2 years. And the reason that is significant is because the ARPA funds, the $3 million that we have in place already, that has to be committed in by 2024 and spent by 2026. And that would set us back and put us in danger of actually missing out on those funds as well. Now, I understand nothing is meant to be secretive or anything like that. We had to come before you guys to get approval to even move forward with that process. But the time crunch was understandably tight.
Okay. Any other concerns or questions on this? Stay there. Okay? Fletcher power abatement. So we have to redo the
Well,
resolution.
you need to vote on first reading. Is that right, Janet?
Vote on it.
Vote on first reading.
Yes,
What you're voting on is to establish the revitalization area.
No, this is for the food and beverage tax.
Oh, for the food and
First
beverage
reading.
tax rate? I don't think we vote on,
Not the way I've.
I don't think
You don't vote on first reading?
I don't think so. I think the final, this is just an
All right,
open discussion and then the public hearing and then we'll have a vote
sounds good.
November.
Sounds good.
Okay? Okay, resolution 2023, we approved it last month.
Yes. And do you want me to explain?
Yeah, go right ahead, Brian.
The last resolution that was presented to you guys at the last meeting had an incomplete SB1 on it. I asked the company for the SB1, when they got us the completed SB1, it was not in time for us to advertise it properly. I'm conversing with Barnes and Thornburg, the legal counsel on this project. They thought it'd be best to go ahead and re-adopt the declaratory resolution, which this will then, I guess if this is, I was thinking with first reading, if you guys don't vote on first reading, then I would think this needs to be adopted and then, or not adopted, needs to be approved and then advertised. And then at the next meeting, we will formally adopt the ERA, which will allow for an abatement to take place.
So we don't sign this today?
Do not sign this today.
Okay.
As I understand.
So we're just,
It's essentially doing what, and did you guys get a copy of the SB1 in that packet as well?
yeah, I think it's right here.
It's part of-
SB1, I'm not.
Yeah, sorry, the abatement
We're
application.
just leaving it alone right now.
Yeah.
So we have to,
I don't know, if you guys
Vote
don't,
on this and
if you
approve
guys
it.
don't, vote on first reading, then you can easily vote on it in this situation.
I wouldn't think so. When you say first reading,
This is a
yeah, no, you
resolution.
wouldn't, because it hasn't been advertised.
Okay.
There can still be public here. We've
This
already-
is basically information.
Yeah,
So all
I
we're
just didn't know
doing-
for a resolution. While I'm here, I'll call Barnes and Thornburg to make sure if that's okay.
okay, that's fine. I mean,
That'd be great.
we signed the last one, so I don't know how many we have to
I
sign.
mean, it's not new information, it's the same information as it was the last time. We just want to make sure to do it.
But everybody remembers,
This is the battery facility.
yes, this is battery, so we approved it last time, so.
All right, I'll make a call. I'll be right back.
Thanks, sir. We'll move on. Sale and transfer of money for Charger and Tahoe. Sharon,
Yeah, we're gonna need to table that, please, in November. We didn't get advertised in a timely manner. So we'll just table tomorrow.
Juvenile Probation Program, Jeremiah McCown.
I just wanted to, first of all, introduce to you, if you haven't met him already, our new juvenile probation officer, Jeremiah McAdams. Jeremiah has been a juvenile probation officer since 2009. Worked in Shelby County, a little bit bigger community. He is a South Decatur graduate, he's local, and decided he wanted to come back and be the main juvenile probation officer for us. We're very happy to have him. We talked about our budget meeting, the fact that I'm not quite sure what he will find our needs to be as far as a second juvenile probation officer, an administrative assistant. So you have given me some money in my budget to cover his salary, and then some, probably would cover an administrative assistant. He has had an opportunity to be here for a couple months now, and believes that right now we need programming, some things to be put together for his needs here in the community, short of a DOC commitment. The program that he would like to talk to you about is called Why Try. It is something that is done on an adult level at community corrections. It's something that's done at the juvenile level at Department of Corrections for juveniles. We only send a few of those kids there. So it's not a program that in general kids can take advantage of here in the community. It's not a brand new program. It's been around for a number of years. And the good part about that is it has been studied and it's been determined to be a very effective program. Doesn't cost a significant amount of money to train someone to put it on and continue to pay them to put it on. So it's something that we're just making sure it's okay with you if you use the money that is available for a second juvenile probation officer or administrative assistant toward this for the time being, So we're not asking for more money today. So Jeremiah, anything in detail you want to talk to them about on this program?
Well, and again, thanks for having us today, and it's good meeting all you guys. I'm real excited about being here. And like Judge said, part of me coming on was to kind of look at juvenile probation as a whole and see what we need in our community. I have a lot of experience bringing in programs and developing and creating. And I think this is what we need. We need intervention for kids who come into our office instead of sending them away to get us somewhere else. And I think kind of opening that opportunity for our community to provide this. With the White Ride program, it's not just a probation program either. We can utilize it in the schools. We can utilize it for a number of different things. Some thoughts we had were things like truancy. Right now, we deal with truancy from all the schools in the county. I think right now there's not a big solution. It's kind of, we talk to them, hope they figure it out. I've talked to the schools about the program and they're on board with utilizing it as well. So in that case, any of those issues we could send through the program. We could utilize it with vape tickets, tobacco tickets. So even kids who aren't on probation, we can take advantage. I think Department of Child Services would be able to utilize it with some children there. I think that the information sheet was emailed out, but I mean, if you look at it, the success rate for, just children, understanding their behaviors and consequences and finding success and goals. And it's kind of what we want out of every child who grows up here. And like Judge said too, I think we get this program going, it would be my goal to find someone local to teach it, someone who's invested in our community, someone long-term who would be around. And I would hope that through that process, if we develop other programs, maybe that person too we could keep around to teach other programs. So kind of a long-term investment here for, I think, a fairly little price.
So we have already approved the second juvenile position, and you want to take that money and let him run these.
Right. The total cost of this program is around $5,000, so it's pretty fairly minimal. That would still leave us money in juvenile probation salaries that you've already approved. I'm glad we got in after the vote. Can't take any of that away. But we could hire an administrative assistant if we needed to, or start another program with it.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure before we did anything like that you were aware of what we're doing. And it was okay with you folks to do that.
I'll make a motion.
You make a
Yeah, I'll
motion.
make a motion, we allow.
Bill makes a motion,
Second.
we allow.
I think that's where it all
Dan
starts.
seconds. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I guess we do need to vote, Brian,
Yes,
on this resolution.
yes, vote it and sign,
Pardon?
vote and sign.
Okay. Okay, resolution number 2023-27, which we approved last meeting, we're gonna do it again. So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
That's for the battery.
Yes,
I'll make that motion.
Kenny makes motion to approve. Ashley seconds. Any other questions for Brian? He's got me confused, don't ask me. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Okay, then I'll put them in this and send it back to the chair. Okay, and we're gonna move on to additional. Okay, we got one for Coon Bridge, on moving funds from restricted reimbursed Coon Bridge for 236 bonds. What's it coming out of?
Coming out of the restricted fund.
Okay, this is for the bridge at down by,
Junior high bridge. In the course of Mark and I switching out. Okay, I got a bill from USI or from the state.
for 20% on this federal aid project, $284,000. Okay. I asked Mark, I said, hey, what's this? He said, well, that's your 20%. So I had to pay that. I moved it out of Cume Bridge, dropped it down in 236 so I could make sure it was tracked. And we paid that invoice. But that took almost 300,000 out of my Cume Bridge budget, okay, for repair and replacement. And I want to go and get that out of restricted fund for construction reconstruction to put back in there. And so I've got money to operate.
280,000, everybody understand that? Entertain the motion to approve.
I so move.
Bill makes a motion,
I'll second.
Ernie seconds. Any other discussion for Todd? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Commissary reimbursement county general for part-time employees. It's for coming out of commissary going into county general. $6,118.83. Everybody got an email on that one too, didn't they? Just to reimburse part-time people being paid out of county general from your office, correct? Any questions for the sheriff? Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Kenny made a motion. Ashley seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, takes care of the additionals.
Is there also another one there?
There was one behind.
Do what?
There was one behind.
No, is there one behind there?
Local registry.
Give me a piece of it back. They put two of them together on me.
That's Cume Bridge.
You got the other one there, Dale? Up, I got one here for 600,000. Paving for the new highway department.
That was part of it. Like I said, in the transition of being Mark, number one, I forgot to transfer for our community crossing grant, $333,000. Okay. And above and beyond that, the county was going to take out of our local funds to pay for another $333,000. And then I found out we had to pay for the new highway to the county garage. So originally when I thought I was good, I wasn't good. And so now I just need to add that money back in there just to kind of replace and still operate. I don't know how much more I'm going to need this year, but I want to make sure I get that back in there.
Coming up, bituminous, I can't pronounce that word anyway. 600,000 going back into community crossing grant, correct?
Going into LRS, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Todd on this?
Get too many pots of money.
Uh,
Get too many pots
Yeah.
of money.
Sometimes it seems like there's just not enough. Just trying to figure out the budget in general is a big deal. So
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Bill makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Kenny seconds. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
thank you.
Sure. Now, transfers. Everybody get a copy of them? Well, not too bad. department had a lot of cleanup, didn't they? Any questions?
We're here. We're, want to order that laptop to the IT guys.
You know, that's what I asked last time, if I could have went through IT and got one. Maybe they did, I don't know.
We'll find that.
Pardon?
We can check on that.
Okay.
Josh was supposed to come and get it and see, I think he transitioned to that and then I haven't heard anything. I still have it. If they want it.
That is right.
Yeah, no, I said something.
I can send Josh an email when it DNP.
It looks like he's already got one, doesn't it?
Yes, $12.99.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the transfers. You wanna hold that one out, or?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and,
Okay,
I'm sure he's done his due diligence. Pretty good about that.
I'll make that motion.
Deanna makes a motion to approve the transfers. Melanie seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That's all that's on my list. Anybody else have anything for us?
I should be on your list for
Pardon?
911 administration. I should be on the agenda for,
So 911.
Yeah, 911, okay. Go right ahead, I apologize.
no, so I don't need money, I don't need signatures, and I don't need votes. So, finishing the meeting on a good note. So we are, restructuring admin in dispatch. Right now, we currently have, the director, the assistant director, a supervisor, and then all 14 dispatchers run through that pretty much straight chain of command. And when the, salary study packets were sent out, that came back about what could be improved in their jobs, they felt like they wanted, the ability to have more direct contact with a complaint process, how complaints are made. So we have split up, our administration. We currently have an A shift and a B shift with dispatchers. So we have split up our administration. So now both shifts will have a shift lead, and a supervisor both. And then I've also taken the assistant director's position out of the chain of command, only because she currently deals with, everything that has to do with IDACs, which is 4 law enforcement agencies in both of the courts. So she's, inundated with that stuff right now. So the, each, shift of dispatchers, the shift lead will have 5 direct reports to them. So span of control is 3 to 7, with 5 being ideal. So they'll both have 5 direct reports, and then the shift leads will report to the supervisor, and then both supervisors will report directly to me. A couple of the questions that came from the commissioners yesterday was removing the assistant director out of the chain of command, how that works if I'm not available. So it will still be in her job description that she steps into that role in the case that I'm not available. But that would be unless something critical happens to me, that would be a temporary, like if I'm on vacation. But then ultimately I would still come back and fulfill those duties for whatever that situation may be. And then they also asked about chain of command looks similar to what already exists, just doubling it. So what we are trying to do now is push down positive reinforcement discipline. All of that has always come across my desk because everybody below me still works the console as peers to the dispatchers when we need the schedule filled. And it's kind of creating a separation between me and the dispatchers, because whether they're crossing that threshold for positive or negative, it's still the perception of dealing with me all the time. So we will be pushing some of that down. The shift leads will be more remedial training, positive reinforcement, making sure that corrections are made in the moment so that those mistakes aren't made again. If mistakes continue to be an issue or there are anything that may lead to progressive discipline, that will start at the supervisors with verbal counseling, written warnings, and then anything that is going to be signed and put into a personnel file. So suspensions, terminations, those will still come across my desk. But everybody will have a hand in the process at that point. So it's also providing some incentive to make the department better because they want to stay invested in the department versus it just being me telling everybody how to do their jobs and that creating turmoil that there's no investment other than coming in and getting a paycheck and going home. So we are not asking for any money this year. What we're doing this year is the one additional supervisor position. And then January 1, we're going to start the shift leads. But since all of this kind of came about post-budget time, we are going to self-fund the supervisor through the end of this year. And then we're going to self-fund those 3 positions also for next budget year because it's our non-reverting fund. The city and the county has already paid their 50-50 in my cash balance. Plus, this is based off of law enforcement rank structure, so we're not 100% certain it's going to be what's in the best interest for a dispatch center. So before we come to you guys and ask that any positions be funded, and it won't be any additional positions, it would just be that rank pay on top of their already base salary that's already in the budget. But before we ask for any money for that, we want to make sure that it's going to work for us in the same way that it works for law enforcement. So we are going to self-fund it for a year and change. And then we'll follow up at budget time next year for the 25 budget to see if it's something that we're going to continue or if we're going to explore something else. So right now, just more informational. I brought it to the commissioners yesterday since it's a personnel restructure issue. And more informational for you guys, even though we're not asking for money still, so that you know what we're doing, just in case in a year we do ask for any for 2 years from now. Okay. Any questions on that?
I think I was there yesterday. They asked all the questions I would ask.
Okay.
I like how you were responsive to what you saw in there.
Sure. And then the mental health stuff also came from those packets. But the sheriff's department was involved in that as well. That's why we came together and collaboratively worked on that. Update on that. Last Tuesday was World Mental Health Day. So we formally pushed that to our people, who they contact, how they contact them, how they utilize those services. Within 24 hours, it's already being utilized. And then within 3 days, that number had tripled of people that were utilizing it. So it's going and being used. So.
You're good.
Great.
I don't need any money though, or signatures or votes.
Come back to the time.
We're just waiting.
Listen, when I come, I should ask for a pretty penny.
Always come back to the way.
Okay. Anyone have anything else in the crowd? Anything?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Kenny makes a motion to adjourn. Ernie seconds. Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Am I opposing that? Okay. Thank you for coming.